Hello, everyone. Welcome to another week of MMO Concept Art. Tonight, we're going to kick it off by looking at what Wolf's got. So I'm sending it over to you, buddy.
All right. Hello.
Hello.
All right. So first of all, taking uh, this guy, the DP guy, the scout, the whatever he is. I decided as for uh, these marking lines, I liked what Sergio was saying about how they framed it, but I didn't like. Yeah, I'll show you. Like like over here, I think it's too much to have these ones.
I would agree.
Like, because Sergio is back and forth between these two, but I don't like that. So I took that out, and I think it looks a lot better. Um, I still don't think these top ones are necessary, but it's actually not a bad look. Uh, and then and then I did these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Notice another armor thing, and what I'm thinking. I like both of them. Like I like it to start out with this one, and then as you upgrade to this, which is like a better armor.
Cool.
I can live with that. I can live with that.
And then I was experimenting with this guy in the lab, and
And
so
cloned him many times.
yeah, funny that. Uh, so here's one. I'm kind of exploring right now the steps of upgrading. Like I've got him pretty bare, um, which I don't know if he would start off this bare or he would start off this bare because it's kind of I don't know. This adds a lot of style points to it.
Yeah.
So but I don't know. I mean, if you like quickly got that, it might be cool. But I mean, that's something to figure out later. But it's a possibility. Then the upgrades to the hood and uh, like either just these ones down here, like having metal here instead of just leather, and then or maybe both of these at the same time, or it could be, it all depends on how it's going, but there's an upgrade for that, for both of these things to have what do they call it, bracers or something.
Yep. Bracers.
Yep.
And then I try to get a little groovy with plates here because kind of how he has these plates, so I wanted to kind of uh, put that somewhere else. So I was trying to do that. I don't know if it looks too technology-like, but maybe that's a good thing. I don't know, but
Actually, I like that.
I think it looks pretty cool. And then um, I was thinking as a last thing here, then he gets this full leather everywhere, so he's protected. Plus, he gets these little spikes, so he can like razor sharp, so he could like slice someone's neck just with that or something, and just slice them up. Thought that was
Oh,
pretty cool. Oh yeah, and you can see how he upgrades to this thing as well, and I changed them to
Nice.
different
Yeah.
sides before they're same side, so I think it looks a lot better like that.
Agreed.
Uh, so you guys want to comment about? I have more, but guys want to comment about that?
I really like the progression of that, actually. I'm not. I guess the only thing I would comment on is between the very base guy and then that first level. I'm not sure that I wouldn't just start with that chess piece.
Yeah, between this and here.
Yep. But other
Yeah,
than that,
Yeah.
I'm not sure either.
yeah, I like the progression you have going on there, and I like the way he's looking. And I do not think that the stuff at the end is too futury. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty pleased with that.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, I thought it looked pretty good. But it's like
I agree. Yeah.
there is a combination. Like I don't want because it does look like something like I might do on a human armor thing, but like I don't want it to look like the same thing. But however, I'm not going to have any human armor with this cloak and all this
Yeah.
kind of fantasy type stuff. So it's like I don't know, but it's kind of interesting because this this stuff, even though it doesn't necessarily have to be technology. Because, I mean, those shapes, it's just something that we read into it, which it doesn't really mean that, but there's something kind of cool about that because they are aliens, and this isn't like a human fantasy world. So I don't know. Sergio, you're called on. Is he muted?
No.
Unmute your microphone.
Oh yeah, he had himself muted.
Yeah, I was muted. Sorry. Yeah, I like the progression, and I agree with the last ones. I wouldn't change it. I like it how it is.
Cool.
The only thing I will maybe change is the saturate a bit more the red.
Oh yeah, this. Well, you know what? I didn't bother with that just because it's like I'm not really trying to pinpoint colors at this point. So it's just like the idea is like I wouldn't use this for the actual one, but it's like I'm really not even sure if this is going to be red yet. So it's like when I'm actually trying to make a three 2/3 perspective, and render it nice and stuff and add detail, and so then I'll get that to where it is, and then I'll start messing around with all the different color combinations and bring that to you guys. But it's like I don't know if it's going to be glowing red or not.
Well, I guess one nice thing is when we do get around to actually creating this stuff for the game,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not entirely sure how yet, but I think we can actually split things up so that each section of armor is its own color channel that you can configure within the tool
Yeah.
set.
That'd be nice.
So
And
essentially, you can basically open it up so that players and stuff like that could actually put together their own outfits, their own colors, based on a choice.
Right, and also maybe if this is this glowing magical thing, if that's what it is, maybe depending on what kind of jewel you like, maybe it doesn't start off glowing, but maybe you can put some kind of crystal in it, and it's like if it's like fire element or something, that'd be all red and
Oh yeah, I mean, if
cool,
it's going to glow, that saturation is not bad. I was thinking it more like something
Mm-hmm.
opaque. That
Right.
was why.
Yeah, and that's a possible direction as well. I'm not really sure yet. I mean, that's also, I'm very open to feedback on where that should go. Although maybe we shouldn't. I don't think we should narrow it down until I've had a chance to really, because in trying to make a better rendered one, I might. I mean, I'm going to be adding more detail that's going to kind of change things a little bit. So let's see, kind of allow that to speak to us a little bit and adjust it there. But
That sounds
yeah.
good to me.
Neat.
But I think we should be thinking about it. It's like as far as is is it markings or is it something that's magical and glowing?
Well, I kind of like the idea, like, say for example, you've got a character that's just going to haul off and throw a fireball at somebody's face.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like the idea of certain parts of the armor or their outfit or whatever, sort of channeling that power down through his arm into his hand, and then off it goes, kind of thing.
Well, yeah, because I do like the idea of adding of having it start out as something more neutral, maybe not active, maybe not really glowing, and then
Exactly.
yeah. If it depending on how you upgrade it, like maybe um, it could also be so since it's armor, I don't know, it could be fire resistant or something, but I don't know exactly how that's going to work in gameplay because you're fighting against humans, and but I don't know. I think the humans could have flamethrowers and stuff. So, but yeah. So I kind of like the idea of I don't know, like maybe even do upgrade it, go through the build you never use the upgrade. I mean, never upgrade it to glowing armor glowing magic armor because you're not really you're doing something else instead of going the more magic route.
Cool.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, or maybe they all do. Maybe this guy, since I mean, maybe he's both a melee guy and a range guy, and you can just decide which way you you want to go, what you want him to excel at. But I mean, maybe not excel because I mean, all those magical guys, those guys should be the real big rangers, but I mean, I think but humans are also going to be doing a lot of ranging, I think. So so I think he should be able to do at least some range stuff. But
I get the idea of specialist classes, but I'm also a firm believer. I mean, even today, 99% of your combat is at range, but Marines still know how to fight if it gets in too close. So specialist classes, absolutely, but I think everyone should be at least somewhat capable of close combat.
Right, and I gotta think these guys have a little bit of magic protection as well, so they're running through, and so the bullets aren't or even the energy weapons, they're not hitting them for full damage, so they're able to charge at you, and so you shoot them to slow them down, to hurt them a little bit, and then when they get to you, you have to fight them.
You better start fighting.
Yeah, and it's like that big tank guy I did for the humans. He looks like he can brawl, in that suit.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and like I mentioned a while ago that I don't really picture the humans as using shields, at least for stuff that's in the atmosphere, on the ground. So like vehicles and all that, no shields. Stuff in space, sure. But I figured if anyone is going to have some kind of cool energy shield type effect, it would definitely be the Alethians, because they've got all that crazy magical type power to be able to draw from and do that sort of cool stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, now they have like SWAT team shields where it's that kind of see-through glass type thing. I don't know if it's actually glass, maybe it's plastic. I don't know what it is, um, but I can see people having things like that.
Yeah. No, I just mean in terms of like the Halo style energy shield.
Right.
Humans don't have that.
Yeah, probably not. Wondering. I can almost see like robots having them or something. I don't know. Like not full on, but like positional ones. I mean, I think kind of like I think they. I think they did. I can't remember if they've done in some of the new Star Wars or something, but you know how sometimes they'll have like shields that are like it would be like shields that it would be like in the shape of like a shield you would hold, maybe like kind of a Roman centurion, you know, but it's just like this energy thing, and it's just like in this one little place or something, like versus a shield that's just completely surrounding. It's just like it's like focused into a spot. I don't know. Maybe there might be room for something like that. But yeah, I think most of the thing with humans, I think is probably going the route of either what I can't think of what it's called, but the mechanized stuff inside, you know, like what's it called when it's humans starting to add unhuman like metal
cybernetics.
Yeah, cybernetics. Yeah. Like cybernetics is one of the ways that it's like, okay, that's why their bone didn't break when you shot, you know, like that kind of thing. Plus just biological stuff, you know, advancements and nanobots maybe repairing tissues and so, you know, things like that. Like I think
as far as the visual effects of combat, one of the things I was thinking of doing is to avoid having to explain why the giant club didn't just cave somebody's head in. I'm still not entirely sure how we do it from a coding standpoint yet, but if we had some sort of synchronized animation combat system in place, or support for it eventually, the idea would be that until you actually deliver the killing blow to someone, it's, you know, the kind of hits that you could see hurting but not killing.
Yeah, well, that would be ideal. I don't know if we can do that. I mean, that's like taxing collision and calculations and stuff, I think.
Well, I don't know. I guess it depends on how we do it, because you could run collision checks all the time, but for sake of argument, if you have access to a poor man's motion capture studio and then you and a buddy can sit down and, you know, do some cool animations between one person blocking, another person pretending to hit, stuff like that.
But you would have to make it so when you were, I think you would kind of have to lock in place to make sure that the two characters were at the right distance from each other to fit with that animation. I think it'd be. It's like, I guess you could do it, but it'd be kind of complicated because they also have to be facing the right way, and I don't know. It's possible, but
there are some pretty cool things. Like I'm like I said, I'm not entirely sure how we could implement it, but I know that it can be done. Like there are some games in the past few years that have actually used that. The Old Republic is one of them, and they took it a step further by not only are these guys doing this crazy matched combat when you're fighting somebody else with a lightsaber, but if some jerk in the back decides to take a pot shot at you with a blaster, your character will actually spin the lightsaber around and deflect it back before going back to a swing at somebody. Looks awesome. I have no idea how they did it.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds awesome, but the question more is whether it's worth us doing, like, how, versus can we do it, like, I think is
I think
as far as time and resources. So I mean, I don't know.
I think it's worth it. I because from my point of view, that's one thing that is missing from every MMO out there, is when you have that shot that that should have just killed somebody right then and there, and it doesn't. It
Right.
tends to break the immersion.
No, I understand it's worthwhile doing. What I'm saying is, like, does it add 10 years to the project,
Mm-mm.
kind of thing.
Mm-mm.
So
No, it shouldn't. That
all
shouldn't
have
be particularly
Yeah.
labor intensive, is what you mean,
Right.
Gabe. Yeah, I don't think it should be.
Labor intensive. Yeah, well, and it's also a concern, can people's computers handle it? Is that
Well,
narrowing down the audience who can play it? I don't know.
If it were me, a lot of it just basically deals with communication between clients. I haven't really had a chance to talk with Nelson as far as how that's being handled, but if it were me, I would basically have the server tell both people that are sitting there fighting in the same screen, this guy's using attack animation 1, this guy's using defense animation 1. Go. And at that point, this really not terribly taxing. All it's doing is playing back animations. And in that respect, you wouldn't even really have to worry about detecting collisions, because
Yeah.
provided the animations are synced, you could even tell it,
Right.
If it's like some animation where you have two weapons that kind of glance off of each other, you know exactly when that's going to happen and where. You could even have it spawn an effect manually without having to worry about collision detection.
Honestly, I think even if you do have some clipping, or if you're a little bit shy of actually hitting, but the animation is just correct, your brain is gonna tie those together and make it like right in your head, because it's just gonna look right enough that you see what they're doing, and it's just, so I think that's also something in favor of doing that, is that it doesn't necessarily have to be perfect when as long as everything is kind of timed right.
Exactly, yeah. And like as far as collision detection, I can certainly see it applying to certain aspects of combat, but it's not one of those things, like it's not a first-person shooter where you're dealing with a twitch-based combat system. So in that respect, that takes care of a lot of the finer details in combat. Like we can have a lot, excuse me, we can have a lot more aspects of it that are controlled by the server, and the details are simply given to the clients.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely have no problem with it. I'm just saying, I don't know. Let's see what Nelson has to say.
Nelson will tell us he hates us all, but he's gonna say that no matter what. So
True. Well, I'd like to help if I can.
Sergio, what do you think of these as a upgrade? You're muted.
No.
Okay.
I kind of like it, but it makes me focus on the abdomen and the pelvis region in general, because it's so dark now.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like it could be any. I think that's just because of the dark.
No, yeah, but man, it's
And
not bad.
I also think, well, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but there's going to be lines, just like how there's lines here, and there's basically going to be lines to indicate these three different sharp points, and so that's going to fit in there too. Which, like right now, I know it's more just focused in that area, but as the arms are moved around and stuff, they'll be at different points.
Now, as far as those bracers are concerned, those 3 spikes, are they meant to be spikes, or are they meant to just sort of be like layered plate
Layer plates,
that
I
just has a
believe.
bit of an offset?
Well, it's kind of both.
Okay. Like
It's
spiky layered plates?
yeah, it's layered plates that come out in a spike.
Okay, cool.
Actually come out. We'll see how it looks. I mean, it's not. They're not going to be like paper thin. I mean, obviously they should be thinner at the top, but it's also I don't know. It's obviously it's helping. Weapon
Ya
deflect
están
off
aquí los
as
ahorros
well.
de Black Friday.
Yeah. Oh, that would be just vicious in a backhand.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a big. It's kind of similar to that in a way, except it's also this deflecting thing, and
Cool.
I suppose you could probably even catch a sword in between here if you wanted to, like to stop it.
In some ways, I can almost see that outfit belonging to someone that just kicks all kinds of butt without using weapons.
Yeah, like a monk type. As in
Yeah.
the RPG monk archetype. Right. So I did some more with this guy, and I ended up just taking this saturation stuff way down, and just the levels. I took the contrast down as well, so that it would fade into the background more, and these would stand out. So this is again thinking of a possible progression where start off with just like this, and then kind of build up. And I thought I don't know if you guys like this one, but I thought eventually it upgrades into this one that everybody liked, and this thing gets spikes, and then like I don't know if everybody upgrades to that or this is a special thing that you want, but anyway. And also, like, it could go the other way around, where it's more noisy underneath, and then it's muted in the big armor. But I tried this one. Any thoughts?
I like the big armor. Honestly, the only thing that I'm looking at that bothers me is on the very first guy. I would
This.
just the please look at my hairy brown crotch. That piece should go away.
Well, yeah, it could, but this is meant to be. Like a cup, It's like hard armor right here.
Then it needs some kind of color change and detailing.
Now that you've mentioned it.
Right? You can't unsee it, can you?
Nope.
I mean, once it has the rest of the waist piece,
Yeah.
it's fine. But just in that
Right.
first bit, it's like, wow, that's just
Right.
try shaving, dude.
What if all of them have the waist piece, but maybe the first set doesn't have either the bracers or the shoulders?
Yeah, maybe the shoulders. Maybe it's like this guy without the shoulders.
Yeah, I could see that. Excuse me.
Because I mean, he's still a tank, so he should, like, I don't want to start him off too much too vulnerable, but yeah, that's a good idea. So I definitely want the bracers on.
Cool.
Nice.
I don't know if we were going to go with the crazy killer frisbee glaive idea, but if we did want to go with that, maybe that's something he has all the way along, or lesser versions of it.
I don't know. The crazy killer glaive idea just kind of never really went anywhere. We never really talked
True.
about that. So, which doesn't mean it's dead. Just I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it could be maybe some other version, but I mean, I definitely don't want. Like I like him to be like this without that. So definitely like that. Yeah, I don't know. And I also may come up with an alternate version. Not to say that you can't do this one as well, but another one that works a little differently.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Which,
yeah. I mean, small add-ons. We'll have lots of time to play with that.
Yeah.
But in general, yeah, I like the progression there. I do agree that losing or shrinking the shoulder pads, maybe just having round ones, and still giving him
Having the
some
pikes.
sort of waist gear.
What'd you say, Sergio?
No, I was thinking the same. With round ones, round shoulder pads in the first one, and then adding the pikes in the second one, and so on. Something like that. Simplifying the design
Yeah.
can actually serve like progression, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have to redraw anything, just erase the pike in the top
Right.
and I don't know.
Cool.
But I like it.
Hmm.
Cool.
Except I can't stop seeing that.
I'm a bad man. I do bad things to good people.
Thank you.
Don't worry. We will get you back.
Oh, I know.
Oh.
You guys are probably the ones that make Nelson send me stuff over Skype.
Well, it's also
What do you mean?
Nelson always sends me like stuff from like JPEGs or GIFs or stuff, but he always he'll send me like cute cat LOL things or stuff like that. Just that I'll get in the habit of looking at them. And then about 6 times in, he'll send me something just truly awful. Truly awful. One of those like you hit it and the screen opens up and you just go ah. And over and over and over.
Okay, yeah.
I can't not look.
I have friends like that. Yeah.
He lulls you into a false sense of security.
He does.
That's it. I have an idea. What about this belt here with that, and this goes up a little to connect to that, and so it's a little bit He-Man-ish, but it's also over all this armor. So So it's like
That,
you do that, and then this comes in as something fancy because it's kind of fancy. It'd be
that's
kind of
not a
neat.
bad idea. The
Yeah.
the the other thing you could do is just simply make that blue like part of the same
Yeah.
uh, piece, and that's it. Uh, Mostly because I'm thinking like, yeah, it's flexible, but it it should be kind of uh, at least padded, like leather armor or something like that. The base suit shouldn't be just clothing, let's say.
Right.
Uh, so
Right. Exactly.
it could be blue. You could do that to the adding
Right.
the belt and that. But
Yeah. Underneath this, there is kind of a blue setup here that serves as that. But I just thought an extra one would power. But yeah, I mean, I also don't know how many how many upgrades, how many
progressions,
yeah,
yeah.
how many different progressions there's going to be. So so like I mean maybe like what you said, and then maybe like what I said after that, and then maybe so maybe the more steps.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll add those and
Yeah,
replace
we
this
really
guy.
should be doing this the other way around. I mean,
The other way around.
don't get me wrong, but the thing is, we are um, doing a bunch of stuff without actually knowing the
Oh,
skills and the upgrades.
right.
We should really think on that before continuing, but this is optional, of course. But I feel like we're doing, especially you, because you're doing iterations like crazy,
Hmm.
um, without actually knowing the skill sets and all of that. It actually adds a lot of work that might not be used later.
Yes, it does, but it's better than not working at all now and then having to do everything from scratch. At least later you go, okay, we can use this stuff. We have to lose that and or alter this stuff. But that's a lot easier than just going, oh, I have to think of a tank class. What's it going to look like? You know?
No, of course,
So
but I don't mean the general class. I mean the progression in each class. We
oh,
should think about putting together. I don't know if there is, because to be frank, I haven't looked at the entire C file.
yeah,
Uh,
we don't really know
but
what the
putting together
progression stuff is. Yeah,
at
we
least
don't
a
have that.
small document,
Yeah.
I
There
think it
was
will benefit us.
there was one that was in the works. I don't think it was ever finalized. Um,
I don't think it was this specific on like what they. I don't think we really got into that. Like, I mean, I think I feel like I'm the only one who kind of went there and NATO uh, thought he liked some of my ideas, but he thought I had too like yeah, I made characters classes that could do everything kind of and
Were OP,
what
that were OP,
that were what
overpowered.
oh,
OP
not
overpowered.
overpowered but just like okay, you have this aggressive thing and then you have this defensive thing and you have the, it's like but he was saying like in that game then that doesn't lead uh, to needing other players doing other positions, so he thinks that there's less teamwork that way. I believe is what he was saying. Like, um, or just I don't know. He may be overpowered, because they could do everything. But I was kind of looking at it differently because I thought like, okay, they could. It's not that they could do both. It was kind of either or, and then they would have to go through a time where they could. It's like, okay, right now you want to be defensive for a while. Okay, you can do that, but that doesn't mean you can go directly back into being really aggressive, and so you kind of adjust to what's going on in the situation, which to me, I think that's interesting. It's more interesting to me than if just something that's like, okay, this is your one role, and that's what you do, and you just keep doing it throughout. Especially because of this game, it's only a few players on your team, and there's times where you're probably gonna there might be one other guy in your lane, but you might be the only guy in the lane holding things off. So it only seemed to make sense to be able to have some options, but no. But I don't think. What?
I like that idea.
Yeah. But I don't think we had anything more than that. So I threw down something. I could look for it, see what I had. But so I was throwing down some things. But it's I kind of we saw that differently. Like NATO thought that having less skills and abilities made it more strategic because you had to. I don't know.
You have to cooperate. Yeah, you have to
Yeah. I guess you have to cooperate, but
be
I
more
mean,
tactical.
yeah. But to me, I think it's like it all depends on how you do it. I definitely see. I see his point, but I think that depends on how you implement it. But I definitely think
Yeah, I
there's
play
more.
games that do that actually. There was this MMO, I don't remember the name now, but you actually had two classes, but you had only one active at any given time. But you retain, I don't remember if it was one or two skills from the other one, so you could basically have I don't know, a tank that could, in a very minimal way, heal other characters.
Yeah, things that,
But
and I think if you have it to where you go, okay, here's something that I can use, but I can't spam. I can't just. I'm not gonna. It's something like create a defensive wall. Magically lift the land in front of me to create like this little defensive wall that I can. I take less damage from range stuff because I got this wall in this position. Do something like that, but it's like if it's something if you can't use all the time, you use it. You wait and you use it when it's appropriate, and then you can't use it for a long time. So it's like you don't just it's up. I'm going to use it. It's just like, is this an appropriate situation to use that? Am I trying to
yeah,
really
I
be
mean,
defensive here?
if
What?
the reuse on the skill is long, let's say, if you
Yeah.
have to wait, you will try to use it more sparingly, let's say.
Right. And appropriately, like you're not going to use it.
Yeah.
It's like it just comes up. So okay, I'm going to use it here, even though I know I'm going to push forward in a second. It's like no, you're not going to use it right there. You're gonna wait. And I also think that there's some ground for having a couple of different skills. And it's like okay, you make that wall, and then it's like there's a I can't think of what it's called the delay, the delay basically.
Cooldown.
The cooldown, yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Then there's a cooldown for multiple skills that are related. So it's just like so you have to make a decision. It's like, do you really want to make that uh, that that ground wall thing come up, or do you want to do this other skill, like, and then, because to me there's a lot having to think about, ooh, which one do I want to use. There's a lot more strategic in that when you only have like a couple um, spells. This is like, oh, or a couple skills. You go, oh, here's the one where I hit really hard. It's just like, it's like you pretty much use it when it comes up, and so like, to me that's more boring. And then when you have more, and yeah, like, I mean, what Nato was saying is like what he wanted to get away from is having this all these skills that pop up and you do it in a certain order every time, dun, 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 and there's the best way to do it, and nobody's paying attention to it. But
Yeah.
I think the way I'm talking about fixes that, but if you
Well,
implement it correctly.
as far as game mechanics go, I'm all for teamwork, but one thing I like to avoid is the rock, paper, scissors thing.
Right. Just being totally...
Yeah, it's like somebody that is completely helpless against one group or another because they don't have somebody there to support them.
And also, I think...
As far as that goes, a good portion of it is based on math that we really don't have it in place yet, I don't think. But as far as figuring out basic abilities, I think we could probably use some of these designs to give us a clue as to how they might work, and we can build on that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, when you just have, like, say, really one active skill, I think that's kind of boring, because it's just like, okay, you got to be in the place that you got to be in. You have to just watch as that skill becomes active again, and then you go, okay. Okay. I mean, really, all you're thinking about is, okay, I'm not going to kill this thing because they're almost dead, but here's one with full energy. I'm going to use this on that, or like there's a little bit of strategy right with that, but it's very simple, and so it's just kind of like, I don't know. To me, I think when there's more going on, it's a lot more interesting rather than just having it be obvious. Of course, you use it.
True. Yeah.
So that's why I kind of like it to where there are certain ones where if you use that, you can't use the other one. So it's not like you can just spam it. You can go, I'm going to use this, and I'm going to use this, and like this, and that. It's like, yeah, I'm defensive. I'm hitting you with the strong thing, and I'm super fast, and I'm invisible. It's like, okay, no, you have to decide which way you want to go. And
one thing further I think that we could also implement that I don't think has been implemented yet is, like, we've been going with the idea that these soul stones that sort of control all of this other stuff, they are semi-intelligent, they are alive, and they have their own stamina. So eventually they get exhausted just like everyone else. And of course, as they get exhausted, your powers could become less effective or even not available. So then that introduces an aspect to the players for the Alethians that they have to manage that stamina and not get too exhausted as well, which would also help prevent them from just spamming stuff.
Right, and it's also, it's not just the soul stones; it's also the other stones that they activate. I kind of think that of them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just like batteries, like except they're like batteries that refuel. So so they will recharge. But if you just use that up, then you'll need to go back to your base and buy some something that would heal that up, or you just wait.
Yeah.
Heal that up. I don't know. Fill that up, I guess.
Fill it up,
Would be a
heal it
better way
up.
to say that.
Make it go up.
Heal it up.
Huh?
Oh, we're just
Sergio,
singing, Sergio. No biggie.
Yeah, and like I don't know exactly how the healing mechanic would work for humans, but one of the things that I really get tired of as a healer is just constantly watching progress bars. It gets
Yeah.
incredibly boring after a while.
Yeah.
So I'll take pen to paper and see if I can come up with something useful, but I'd like to have an actual in-depth healing system that is not just progress bars and cooldowns. That, maybe it's along the lines of you can, if we were able to implement a damage system that you could have different types of injuries and then the healer has to know what to use on those injuries, that would be
cool.
a little bit more cerebral work, I think, which would be more entertaining for some players.
I like the sound of it. The one thing that comes to mind is it's probably, if you play it for a while, it's probably going to become pretty obvious what to do. But yeah, I don't know.
It all depends on how it gets implemented, but
Yeah, right. Yeah, but I'm like immediately. I'm not thinking of a way to implement it that that wouldn't become like, oh, this is obvious. So it's like when it gets completely obvious, then it like defeats the purpose for existing.
Well, I guess it would depend. I mean, if you have a mechanic where people that get shot start to bleed, well, obviously bandages are going to help you with that. Stopping the bleeding is pretty basic when you get down to it. But
yeah, well, that would be.
Basically, right now it's just theory crafting. I'm just throwing ideas at the wall.
Well, that's an interesting thing. So maybe do you maybe if it's not so clear, do you heal? Do you stop the bleeding, or do you heal the muscle or something that's so it's like, okay, you can spend your energy stop the bleeding, but they're still going to walk with a limp. So it's like, or you can go, oh, right now it'd be better to just fix his limp so he can get to where he needs to be, and then later hopefully he'll still be alive and you can stop the bleeding. Like I don't know, there might be things in there where you kind of have to be a little bit more thoughtful. But yeah, it would be nice. I don't think we're going to be able to do it, but it would be nice as like if you could tell. You could tell by looking at them that they were injured, that they were whether they were like bleeding or they were showing signs of fatigue or things like that, like in the animations. That like if you could if you could tell, so it's not just healing bars, but
well. It's been a while since I worked on it, but one of the things I toyed around with a while ago that it was given the red light at the time, but I think with certain people being gone from the team for as long as they have been, I might rework it into something more efficient, throw it back on the table and see what you guys think.
Yeah.
But I had a system that I was working on that in theory and in practice actually, it was able to track individual injuries to different body parts. So it was able to tell if the hand had been shot or the forearm or the upper arm and all that. It was pretty detailed. And essentially the upshot of it all was what was running in the background was a system to basically check that, and if an arm took enough damage that it became disabled, your character can no longer use any weapon that requires both hands. So they'd be, at that point, restricted to using a pistol.
I wouldn't go that far. I would go to where,
like I said, right now I'm just looking at it from the point of view of making it more efficient.
Right.
Basically, the idea is you could lose the use of an arm and therefore have to use a lighter weapon. You could lose the use of a leg, and maybe at that point you're crawling or limping and you have to get to cover. it basically allows for a system of combat that has consequence as you take damage, rather than just your health going to 0 and you die.
I like that in certain kind of games. I maybe more like an FPS or something, but I don't think it's going to work to that extreme there. What I think would be great though, I really like that as in okay, you're swinging slower kind of thing, unless you want to just go to like a one-hand sword or something like that, then you can have full speed. But to go like complete, it's like if that's the only weapon you have and you just go like complete, it's not. It just doesn't work to say, okay, you have to crawl. You still have to be able to fight, but it's like, okay, you're slowed down and stuff. It just really has to be that way as far as in a game like this. Otherwise, it's just you might as well just be dead because because you're going to be so useless and people are going to be so frustrated that.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah,
some
mostly.
people that would not play a game like that.
Yeah, there is another factor to all of this actually. Potentially, you're putting the healer away from the fight, and you're making characters have to run to it. Because if it's something that requires that amount of concentration to actually heal someone, you cannot be in the fight. Mostly because they will go for the healer. I mean, it's basic. But
Yeah.
Well, it's just, I'm thinking back to, you hear these stories of, back in the day when a soldier was wounded, you'd have people that are rushing out of the trenches to get that person and get them back where they can be taken care of. And
Yeah,
it's not
it all
necessarily that we
depends.
need to have that kind of mechanic. I'm just thinking that I'd like to have, even if it's a case where somebody is injured down in the field and the medic has to run out and get somebody and bring them back, and while he's doing that, the rest of the team has to cover him.
Don't get me wrong. I like the ideas. We will have to see how to implement the I mean how it will actually work. But I like the ideas. What I would like mostly is at least I don't know. 3 or 4 skills to per class, so we could do some concept about the animations.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what you had with the little mages. But the idea is, I mean,
It was pretty simple for that. It was just like there was a
but I mean,
direct attack and an area effect.
I wouldn't do something extremely complicated. Maybe something simple and go from there.
Right.
Like building blocks,
Yeah,
because
definitely.
I really want to pass this on and start building on something that actually gives feedback. I don't know if I'm explaining myself correctly. Yeah, no, I mean,
Excuse me.
maybe I'm wrong about this, but I would like to test at least a few skills.
To see it in practice and not just in our brains.
Mostly because it will be more graphic.
Right.
I mean, I'm not a programmer. I wouldn't know how to implement all of this. I've only completed like the first part of the programming lessons, but I would really like to have some, at least a small document that says, okay, this is what we're doing. Even if it is a simple start, we could always build on that. I don't know if I'm being, if
You're
I'm explaining myself.
I think you are.
you're looking, yeah, you're looking for a design document to help keep us focused on what we're doing for a given class.
Yeah, at least for the start, and see on that, because I mean, I'm doing a lot of stuff in 3D and all, but I'm mostly a 2D artist, and I was starting to concept some skills, but I didn't know if sorry, if it was something that we were going to use or not. I don't know how to explain myself honestly, but yeah, just that, just a few tiny document, tiny skills, just
What?
to set the starting point.
Yeah, write down anything you come up with. I mean, it doesn't. Well, and we'll look at it and talk about it. It doesn't have to be correct. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to get it right the first time. Or this is something to get us talking.
Sure.
Well, and I think it was a while ago, but I think we have at one point we had a couple of sessions where we just didn't worry so much about the artwork, but we just sat down and were basically theory crafting for a session about
Right.
what certain classes might do. And maybe it's time to consider doing that again for a session or two.
Yeah, we absolutely can. In fact, yeah, I guess I'd still record them, but yeah, I have no problem with breaking that out. And
But Steve, maybe you could record them under a different name. So people who just want
yeah, I could.
to see the art don't get confused.
Yeah, I could record it under a some
Design.
kind of design meeting
Yeah.
for first phase design meeting or something.
Yeah, I've got a couple things to say in response to what Richard was saying. One thing I think, as far as healers go, if you're going to be able to heal like different body parts, like maybe just kind of a color overlay kind of indicator thing kind of that goes around, like say, oh, this arm is hurt, so you can see like it starts where it goes, oh, it's starting to get hurt, and yellow, and then it's red, oh, it's really hurt, so you could see things like that, which some of the colors I don't know. Maybe you have some kind of color indicators that help you, so you don't have to completely just look at the bars, but you kind of see
Okay.
color. I don't know, maybe even press a key to toggle between individual wounded spots and the overall health of the unit. Which was show in the color, and so you can monitor that. So that might be a little bit more interesting for the healer to look at. And then,
Yeah,
okay.
I could set
Oh, you
something
want
up
to
like, well, sorry, yeah, I don't mean to interrupt. It's just I'm thinking maybe something along the lines of just a even just a semi-transparent primitive that's colored
Yeah.
according to the health of that region.
Yeah. Something
Um,
like that.
I think as far as the healers go, the only other thing that really bothers me is the omnipresent healer.
What do you mean by that?
The fellow that can walk up, throw something at a group, and then everybody's healed.
Yeah.
To me, anything involving fixing a person, it's a lot like fixing a vehicle. You can't just throw something at it and it's fixed. So, as a healer, you'd be focused on just one person. But if that person is behind cover, not getting shot at or whatever, you can basically deal with that. Check them, see what's damaged the most, fix it, send them off to the fight.
Healers usually have the bill. If they want to do really strong healing, it's on the individual, and if they want to do like light healing or something that's going to what do they call it? I don't know, is it like restore or something that's going to like actively like slowly keep rising your health over time, so they do things like that. But you're really going to need that kind of stuff in a game like this, because and keep in mind that the characters are usually going to be separated all over the map, so you're not going to get all the player characters in one go. But you have your character, plus you have all these little little AI guys that are fighting on your side, going against those things. So they're getting hurt, and it's like you have to decide. Oh, this one's really hurt. I want to save this one, or like, oh, this group, they're all really hurt, so that's a good time to use a thing to kind of boost up all of them. And you're really just not going to have the time to do each one. Plus the real kicker is if you're gonna do that where you could heal each one, you would have to have the healer be able, like the cooldown would have to be like almost non-existent. So so that wouldn't be good either. It's much better if you have two different ones, the lesser heal, and it's usually maybe a heal that's kind of going up over time, and then like you can't think of the name for it, but
how many people here have played Left 4 Dead?
I'd
I
have.
Rather than a light healing for a whole group, because I agree with Richard. I kind of hate that whole just cover everybody in this huge circle and it magically fixes everything. But
These guys are magic.
there is that. But
Okay, the
but I
Elysians
still
have
hate
an
it.
excuse, but the humans, no.
Well,
But what if we did something like when you're severely injured in like below 30%, I think, in Left 4 Dead, and your health actually starts to actively tick off. But you can
Okay.
but they can take adrenaline or pain pills, and it buffs them back up to 80%. But that starts to wear pretty quickly, and it never actually heals them. Once that wears down, they're still at that ticking off down to 20% and dying.
well,
So you could do it as some kind of like adrenaline rush or something, as on a mass scale. So,
yeah,
for the humans, you could say it's
right.
Some airborne thing or something, and
Yeah, you could do something like that, but you also, for Richard, you also have to keep in mind that there may be no healer in the group. You may play a game and there's no healer on your side. That's what everybody chose the classes, and you may have a bad healer. So, or you may have people who are just like, oh, I'm playing with my friend. I have one or two other friends, and I'm going to go back and forth between them, or I'm just going to stay on him mainly and keep him healed. And so you can't you're gonna just create so much rage in people if you make the game where the healer is just constantly important, and it's like, oh, I can't even fight anymore. I'm still alive. I just have to wait and die because there's the healer won't come, or, and you
Well,
can't
yeah,
be,
there's that.
it's like, and also you don't want to sit there and wait like, no, nobody's attacking me, but I'm, I can't move. I have to wait for the healer to come pick me up and drag me off, and it's like there's going to be like one healer, and they're probably like they're not going to be right by you, so it's not like oh, you're down and then they can run right there. It's going to take them a while to go across the map and get you if they're over on the other side. So I mean, it's just
True.
the things that you're saying aren't necessarily bad things. They fit a certain kind of game, but this game type, it's not it doesn't fit. It's not appropriate.
I
for
do
it.
have I do have a suggestion that might help to alleviate that then. I mean, you obviously can't plan for every scenario. You can't know if somebody's going to just follow his buddy around or if nobody's going to be a healer. But it also could be possible that if you run into that sort of situation, your character gets shot and he's down. Did you guys ever play Defiance?
No, I saw one of my
No.
kids played a little bit.
There's a mechanic in there that's actually pretty cool in the sense that your character gets his rear end handed to him and he falls over and he's, disabled. You have the option to revive right there or like at the nearest sort of spawn point. But while your character is down and you're trying to make that decision, they can actually crawl and slowly, but they can move around. So you can get around to some place that's safer than right around the thing that was stomping your face in order to revive and get back up and go back to work sort of thing. But
Crawl-
there's also...
But that
There's-
in the MMO thing,
Yeah,
Yes.
that could work. But it's like in the MOBO
MOBA.
thing, MOBA. Thank you. That, I mean, it's like that guy is the enemy is just like right there. So if you're crawling, it's like he's just beating on you while you're doing that, and probably
That's true.
the minions are beating on you too. It's just it.
Although-
you got to think about this particular type of play style of the game.
True. On the other hand, anyone that's in a fight, once the person you're fighting is down, you go on to the next threat.
Not really. The whole key in MOBOs is MOBOs. Am I saying it wrong again? MOBAs.
MOBA.
MOBA. Is that if you want to finish something off, a guy off like that, that gives you tremendous skill points, and then you can upgrade faster. So you really want to, you really get a bonus for killing the enemy, the player units over anything else. So it's like if you have a chance to kill them, you're going to kill them, and then move on to destroying a tower and stuff. But that would be you wouldn't just pass by that, because, and especially
Okay.
because it's like if they heal, then they're completely a threat again. But it's like what happens is when you finish someone off, you get a bunch of bonus, and then there's a cooldown before they can spawn again, and so they're not there fighting, so you can then push on, especially if they were the only ones in that lane. You can push on, kill that tower, hopefully, and so you're pushing them back. So
Okay. Yeah, I think that might be part of the issue then, is I'm looking at it more from the point of view of like a traditional MMO environment. I actually
that
don't
stuff might work
play-
for ammo.
I haven't played any MOBAs, because like one of the things that I was thinking of in addition to that was, you get knocked down, you're not quite dead yet. Maybe you have a like Left 4 Dead, maybe you have an extra bit of health that goes down when you're down, and then once it's gone, you're actually dead. But you have the opportunity to call for help, and it could be a case where maybe there's something in the interface that the healer that's on the team gets that message, sees where it is, and goes, nope, I'm not in a position to do it. Or, I'm not going to do it because I'm busy following this guy. So either they would say no, or it's automatically selected as no because they haven't done anything with it. And maybe an option at that point could be an AI healer is dispatched to try and help that player. And if they get there in time to intercede, then you can continue from where you are, provided they are successful.
See, that is stuff that maybe you can add to like big battles and the MMO, type of the game, that part of the game, portion of the game. But for this, like MMOs, I mean, the MOBOs things, they're fast, man. It's there's no time for anything. Like that. Like if you're in a position to where you're about to die and there's no healer around and you can't you can't run away. Like the only thing that you can do is like run back and go back to base. If you're in a position where you can't run, you're over. You might as well just be dead. The healer can't get to you in time. You're going to be dead. It's just it's pointless. It just doesn't fit this game type.
So it's more tactical, less strategic.
What?
The combat. Like the tactical is basically small unit, fast action, that sort of thing. Strategic is like the big picture, moving of armies and the position of your troops relative to support one another, stuff like that. So it's more tactical in the sense that it's just really fast paced. And
yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, like, what you really want to do is not get in a position where you're going to get killed. For the experience that I've had in playing other MOBA MOBA, I can never think of it. Games. There's like things where someone's health is getting low and they run away, and it's like, oh, you chase them, and then somebody who's like kind of stealthy or something comes along and messes you up, and then it's like, oh, you got in trouble because you pushed on too far trying to get this guy, and maybe the tower, now that their tower can hit you and it's only hitting you because there's none of your little AI buddies around, and so it's like, so you have to kind of realize when to go to finish them off and when to keep your place, and you also have to know when to give up trying to support, keep the tower from being destroyed, or trying to kill someone else's tower and go, oh, I just need to run back and heal, or take time, maybe run to base, or just take some time away from being hit, or I'm going to die, and that's really bad for the whole team, because that boosts up, that makes them much stronger, and allows them time to do a lot of damage. So.
Okay.
All right.
Well, it looks like I might have to check out the MOBA scene and see what that's all about then, because that's like I understood the theory of it, I thought.
Yeah.
But I think I might be missing something, because I keep defaulting to like the open world type combat that I would like to see eventually. But I know that right now we're working on the MOBA version, so I have to get my head caged around that.
Why don't we tentatively plan on holding that meeting 2 weeks from today? If Derek shows up as planned next week,
Right.
we'll want to do art. But
Sweet.
Right.
and that'll give everybody a little bit of time to think about their ideas and what they'd like to see, and
Yeah.
perhaps we can even get as far as starting to plan for that first playtest.
Sweet. Okay.
So, does Sergio have something to show?
Sergio, do you have stuff tonight?
You're muted.
You have yourself muted, Sergio. There you go.
A little bit, yeah. Sorry.
Alrighty, in that case,
Yeah, I mute myself.
in that case, I am bringing it over to you, buddy.
Sure. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Okay. I had these ones. I mean, this should really be moving, but I don't know how to do that. So
What should be moved?
The lava.
Oh, the lava.
yeah,
We can actually do that in the game engine. We don't need to make that do
Yeah.
that here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, the texture
If you-
mostly, but. Mhm.
If you wanted to, Serge, what you can do is in the material settings, there's an offset for your UV coordinates, and you can change that number
Oh,
to shift it one way or the other. I mean, like I said, we can take care of that in engine, but yeah, you've got the U and the V there and the offset.
That's not going to change the rolling hills, but it would change the texture.
you know, but the rolling hills I could just add a noise. But if this can be done in game,
Mm-hmm.
it's going.
Well,
to
in the game engine, we can apply a normal map to that will give the impression of a flat plane that looks like rolling hills, unless you're looking at it at the perfect angle. Which
Which
is what
I
we
think
wanted,
that's
because
if you've fallen in.
that's somewhere that we don't want to really spend a lot of
Yeah.
resources on,
Yeah.
because it's not like you're going to be right down there. So that would be something that, from a design aspect, we would cheat it.
One thing I did, was reduce the spacing in the. How do you call this?
Tiling? Tiles?
Yeah, but
Hmm.
because it's actually.
Grading.
Yeah. So it was bigger, so they could barely step in it. They could easily fall, so or trip over actually. So I reduced the spacing a bit in there. Well, I actually did the low poly on this, on the centerpiece and the gargoyles, which is not letting me select. There we go. They're already projected.
Ah, nice.
Sweet.
Yeah, I have to fix a few spots in the diffuse map, but
They're already
Uh,
projected?
Yeah,
Yeah, is that-
high poly to low poly.
Oh.
yeah, it means that it already has the normals.
Okay.
So
I really have to get the brush.
that looks cool.
other than that, I added these chains, a second set of chains to the bridge, and I did this so the break in the texture wouldn't be so hard, because I'm trying to cover the hard edges, this one over here, the ones in this part.
You're trying to cover them?
Oh, cover the hard edges in the terrain.
Yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
yeah. The only one I have left is this. But in this one, I don't know if maybe increase a bit the poly count and play around with it a bit, because you can see the total here, but I still have actually um, high poly stuff. The status mostly, but if I select everything, this is the count. I think I
Yeah, you
missed something. So I think I have some space. Come on. There we go. Because the total is actually 23,000. So
Oh yeah, you plenty of space at
you've
that.
got some wiggle room. And actually, some of those aren't even a factor. Like those, the floating crystals and stuff like that in the middle of the room. Yes, that's part of the scene, but we could accomplish that with like particles and stuff like that. I think that's handled separately as far as Unity is concerned.
Huh.
Like that doesn't have to be part of the composed scene, because they're, if I remember correctly, that stuff is meant to move, right?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, we could play around with that, separate from the rest of the scene geometry.
Yeah, are they glowing? Are they giving off light? Or
The idea is that they give a cool light.
Mhm.
So when you have this, you will actually have warm lights coming from the sides,
Uh-huh.
and cool lights in the center.
Cool. I mean, neat.
Every pun intended.
The only one I'm not sure is about this piece. I think I will delete it because, to be fair, I highly doubt players will be able to look that
They're gonna have a hard time
that
seeing that.
much. Yeah, I think just like this, it will be actually okay.
I think
Yeah, when you're in
personally,
that
I'd
third
say
person perspective, it's going to be very difficult to look up at any sharp angle.
true. Just to be on the safe side, though, I'd almost say unless it proves to be a problem for performance, I think we should keep it, just in case.
I mean, I could keep it. You should. I mean, it's just um,
You could always get rid of it later if it.
800,
Exactly. Yeah.
almost 900 pole is
And
863. So
also, maybe it could be lower poly count than even the one on the bottom, since you're going to be at a distance from it.
That's true too.
Yeah.
And you could probably get rid of the extra detail and not even worry about a second projection map, because no one would be close enough to realize there's a problem.
That is
If
true.
there is one. I want to see it in the game now.
We're getting there.
I
We're
mean,
getting there.
I've only colored it, so I should still work a bit on the texture maps, but for now it's looking okay.
No, it's coming along beautifully.
Yeah.
I agree.
When I think about Nelson's little 2-box rooms with box doors, This should be just a little more impressive.
No, don't get your expectations up too high.
I still have to design the plants. I had actually been designing a bit the crafting stations. I just sketched them. This is actually, hang on. This is actually a notepad I have next to the phone, but
What did you sketch?
the crafting stations. I don't know if you can make sense of this, but let's see. For example, here you have one.
I don't love the middle one. I do like that one. And
Well, but why would you be crafting in that one place?
Oh wait,
Because,
in game we probably wouldn't.
Yeah, okay. They're just there to set the mood.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, the way I thought of it, of the crafting in general, was, I mean, they basically model things by concentration, right? Mind power or whatever. They do have the help of the crystals. So this one, I don't know why it got blurry, but it's basically like a crack in the rocks, and the raw material is in the center, and someone will sit and work in there. This is also like almost like an oven. I really hate this one, but
yeah, I didn't like that one either.
Pretty much the same idea. Here you have like a table with the rocks and the crystal in the back.
That one I like better.
Yeah, I'm between this one and this one actually. And this one will be like the same idea. I mean, like a pedestal or altar or table or whatever. And here you have this, which is suspended above this. It's actually 4 chains, but I didn't draw the one that come up here. And you will basically work in this part. You wouldn't put your hands into it. That's why I did the floating sword or whatever that is.
Maybe that's sort of like their weapon crafting station, if you will. Maybe the other one deals with armor and other gear.
Yeah, that could be too. Here I was trying to define how I will cover the hard edges. I was actually thinking on doing like engravings, like I don't know how to call them, like in each of these ones make a relief, like a sculpt. I don't know how to call them. How do you call them in English?
Are you saying almost like you would hang up like a plaque full of
decal?
Writings?
A banner or something like that?
Something like this.
Yeah.
Oh, a bas relief.
That is.
Gotcha.
There we go.
So is it to look like it was carved into the rocks, or something hung up or fastened to it? How is it supposed to look?
Well, if I will do it here, I will do it like it's part of the rock
Mm-hmm.
because it will make more sense
Right.
in the way in the way I picture them. I picture how they construct the different things,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. It could be either way. I'm not sure if I want to put them in the first place because, to be honest, I don't know if I'm starting to add too much to it, uh, too much noise, let's say. I mean,
It might be a nice touch to put it here and there. I
I mean,
wouldn't cover
I
everything
don't.
with it.
All right, I don't think that it would be too noisy to do that. On the other hand, I also don't think it's necessary to the level. So
yeah,
then you're talking about where do you want to spend the resources of your time?
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, Sergio, have you played around with mental ray, global illumination, stuff like that?
Not much, no.
Okay. I'll see if I can track down some tutorials for you. I'm just thinking, as far as the difference between, you're doing the texture projection and stuff like that inside 3D Studio Max, yeah?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
some of them I'm actually using Photoshop X normal.
Okay. Alright, so I'm thinking maybe for the final, like when everything's ready to go, a final baking pass could be used with global illumination, and you could actually have 3D Studio Max simulate the effect of that lava coming up, lighting up the scene, and
Yeah, baking
as
it
a
in
fairly
the texture.
constant, yeah, and as a fairly constant light source, that would be um, really handy because basically you wouldn't have to worry about getting the lights to behave properly in the scene. All they have to affect is the characters themselves as they're walking around,
Yeah,
which would be
Yeah, you just wanna bake the glow right into the textures.
yeah. And that would give us, like, because we're using the free version of Unity, there's a lot of cool lighting and shadow effects that could achieve similar results, but we don't
We
have
can't
access
have
to
them.
them.
yeah,
So this would allow us to sort of bypass that and thumb our nose a little bit.
yeah. That's true.
Um,
So
Sergio, often you have to be gone, like for work and stuff. By my clock, it's 10:08. Do you need to be scooting?
No, no,
Okay. I just wanted to check. I didn't want
no.
anybody being late.
I was just checking to be sure. I um, because right now I don't have to be anywhere, but I do have stuff to finish.
Oh, okay.
But it's not a problem.
You can ask something that's related to me and not what you're showing.
No.
Okay.
What is it?
No. Well, I'm just wondering, as far as what I do next, it sounds like people are relatively happy with what I have for the different characters. Do you think I'm at a place where I should start rendering? I mean, like drawing the 2/3.
Yeah, I would like to see some good
very much
renders.
so, yeah.
Yeah,
You would like to see some what?
I would like to see some nice renders on that.
Yeah. It's gonna obviously it's gonna take a bit. First, I have to get the drawing of the guy, and then I'll write, and then start putting costumes on.
Yeah, I would say you could go ahead and start
Cool.
it on that.
All right. But it seems like people are pretty happy with the costumes, and it's still going to be kind of a trial and error thing there. Like what's
Yeah,
working,
you may well
I
find
think it's close enough.
That's good.
yeah, you may well find some stuff even as you're doing renders. They're like, now that I look at it this way, but
Yeah.
I certainly think that you're at a point. I think we're all pretty happy with the designs you
Yeah.
come up with.
Well, it's also going to look a little bit differently just because it's going to be 3D and not just like shapes. It's so I have like shapes that don't show that they're actually protruding and things like that. Like armor pieces and stuff. So there'll be a little bit more design to it, and then from there I could add finer details to things to see if that works. But that's going to be a whole nother process. That's kind of similar to this, but see what works and what doesn't. And something that would be interesting is involving color, and it's a whole nother thing of complexity. But okay. That's what I'll do. Because I was just thinking. I was thinking about, oh, what am I doing next? I think I'm pretty much done with these characters. So
Yeah, I would really like to see some renders that we can post around, and
yeah,
I think that is
yeah,
outstanding idea.
yeah.
Alrighty, Serge, you got anything else for us, or any questions from the group?
Just one thing. Well, two actually, but I was thinking if you would like. I said I was going to do crafting stations,
Mm-hmm.
but I think I will do that in one of the places, and the other one turn it into some kind of training room.
Oh yeah,
It's
that
fine with
sounds
me.
fun.
Cool.
I like that idea.
I was thinking like for dummies, like these forms in stone.
Yeah, that would be great.
Did you say mummies or dummies?
Dummies.
Yeah, right. So like you could practice like before the game starts. You could practice.
Yeah, right
how
here
you
in the
use it or
lobby.
something. Or maybe you can't actually use it, but it just shows you. And either way, it's cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
actually, I have to ask if you can
Yep.
jump back to that image for a sec.
This?
Are we looking at, no, our helmeted guy up in the top corner. That guy, yeah. That looks like, I know most of what you're drawing there is like Elysian type stuff. That almost looks like a flight helmet or something.
No. Again, this is a notepad I have next to the phone. So when I'm talking, I just drew forms like this. This one I started doing because I was talking with a person that usually has me for hours in the phone. When he
This is
finds
just good-
me, it's like
In other words, he's mastered multitasking his practice time.
yeah.
So,
So I knew I had to design this, and I started doing this in this place. But it's actually this one where I did them before. Some of them have sense, like this is a person, this is some kind of machinery, but some of them are just forms.
This is Sergio's version of a doodle on the page.
Which makes me a little sick, but yes.
I was just going to say, yeah, I hate him. I
After
can't
that,
help it. I see that character there, and it's like I just have this quote running through my head. With the blast shield down, I can't even see how am I supposed to fight.
I know you wanted me to redo the other one. I actually redid them both, but I didn't go around to scan the other one. Um, so I don't know if you like more the other one. Let me just pull it up.
Danielle's hot.
I thought she looked better in the other one. Just personal taste. Think. Let me see again. Yeah, to me, she's but it all depends on where you're going for. To me, she's a little bit better looking in the first one. But
Come on.
that's
There we go.
I don't know that it's a beauty pageant. So
I like the little bit cleaner
I like-
work of the second one, but
Yeah.
in terms of how she looks, I
I-
kind of
I-
like the first
I
one a
like-
little better.
I like the lips better in the first one. I like the shape of the jaw better. I
In this
think.
one,
Yep.
yeah.
Like
I vote-
it feels a little bit more masculine in the second one. I mean, not
Yeah.
hugely, but I do like I do like the oversized eyes. You don't have to go that oversized. I like the shape of them anyway. I think I like the shape of them a little bit better. But her eyes, I mean, they're fine. They could go either way. But I like the first one, and I think I like the shape of her nose better in the first one.
Yeah.
I like them both, but yeah, first one still has my vote. I do like the crystal in the second one though.
Right.
Yeah, I have to flip it here. I always end up forgetting about that.
Like there's still the point, but at least that's in an area of the chest that
Yeah.
does not move.
Right.
So
Yeah.
But I do kind of like that. I do kind of like the sketches just a little more cleaned up like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
that's mostly because this one I
light.
did it with a 2B, a softer pencil,
What'd you do with that?
and when this one I did it with a normal pencil, an HB.
Uh-huh.
The main reason for this being so sloppy is mostly I was in the dark.
Right.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. Drawing in the
Uh-huh.
dark.
Yeah, and it got it also got really how do you say really smudged because of it was the first drawing in the folder, so
Yeah.
the folder actually
Smudged it. Yeah.
yeah
I like what her hair's doing in the second one, especially her bangs that you can actually see the other eye.
yeah,
yeah
Like her bangs better in that at least. But yeah, I mean I do like how it's cleaned up. So I do like that. But yeah, the thing that bothers me most about the second one is is her jaw. It uh,
too
it's
angular.
a little too masculine. I mean, it's like it's not like something a woman wouldn't have, but it's just kind of a woman who has a more of a masculine jaw. But yeah, I don't know. The lip. I don't like the lips. They seem like a little too I don't know. Is she? It seems like she's not making an expression, but it's like it's kind of, I don't know. It seems over exaggerated. Like she's piercing.
I don't know, the lips I didn't really mind, but I do agree with the masculinity of the jawline.
And
hang on.
I liked, like I said, I like the nose better. This one's more straight. The other one, like, had a nice flow to it.
Yeah. No, probably I will just do a trace of this one, so I will have it cleaner.
Yeah. Like maybe make the eyes a little smaller, but
Yeah.
the same shape.
Yeah. Yeah, mostly because
I probably would.
this is...
I probably would shrink the eye on that just a little bit. I like the shape, but if you actually measured across the bridge of the nose and could see the other eye, her eyes would be way too close together because they're so big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. This is way bigger than it should be, actually.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of manga, so it's like if you're going manga, then it works, I guess.
So,
But yeah, I do. Overall, I
Yeah,
do
well,
like that
like-
one better.
yeah,
Yeah.
it has more strength to it. I don't know why. But yeah,
Well,
yeah,
and
probably I
just
will
the
just do a...
overall attitude to that character, just it's spot on.
Yeah, it's strong yet vulnerable or something. You know, it's just kind of. The other one looks tired and like she tasted something sour.
yeah.
I don't want more of that. I want to go to bed.
Wow.
Oh, hey now. Hey now.
I probably, yes, I will just do a trace on this one, so it will marry the two, the cleanness of
Yep,
this one and
that would be outstanding.
on this turn. And I think that's pretty much it.
That is so awesome because I've been sitting in this chair for 2.5 hours. And I have to go take care of things. But all right, we will plan on artwork again next week. And hopefully Derek will be there. And then the week after that, we will plan on our actual design meeting.
Fair enough.
It'll be nice.
Cool deal.
It'll be nice to work some of that out since largely the original design staff is no longer here, so we can do whatever we want. Yay! Okay.
All right.
All right, guys.
But yeah, I definitely think Sergio has the right idea. Is not to implement too much effort, just get the very basics, and we can add on
Yep.
from there.
Absolutely.
It would definitely be nice to actually be able to test things out and start adding things and see how they work, and then we can throw them out if they don't work without investing in this thing and building on that and then going, oh no, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
That thing way back, that foundation thing. Yeah. All right.
All right, guys. So in that case, I will see
Sweet.
you all next Tuesday. Nice work. Richard, on that other subject, let me know if I can give you a hand. And other than that, I will see you guys.
Sounds good. Good hunting, everyone.
Take care.
Yeah.